Hello everybody, my name is James, hope you're doing well and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about an update following the two McLaren drivers crashing in the Austin Sprint, as well as a penalty that's been issued for the Mexican Grand Prix. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Formula 1 content. Also make sure to follow me on X at James's Pit Lane, I'll leave a link in the description, but let's jump straight into the video. So I thought I'd start off this video by talking about Alpine, and they were not having a great race in Austin. Pierre Gasly was 17th and his teammate Franco Colapinto was 18th, but towards the end of the Grand Prix, Colapinto was faster than his teammate and started to put pressure on Gasly for 17th place. However, Colapinto was repeatedly told to hold position. However, with the Sauber of Gabriel Bortoleto close behind, Colapinto ignored the instruction and went past Gasly into the first corner at the start of that 54, and when asked by the race what happened, Colapinto said, "We had quite a bit more pace than Pierre in the last stint and had Bortoleto really close behind, attacking very hard. He was much quicker than us and it was holding me up with how slow Pierre was going. I think it was the best for the situation to have me in front." Now personally, I can understand why Colapinto went for the move. I mean, you could see Gasly was going slowly, you could see Colapinto was faster, and with Gabriel Bortoleto closing in fast behind, Colapinto's at risk, I think, of losing a position to Bortoleto if he stays behind Gasly. So I can understand why he went for the move. But according to the race, it's understood that Colapinto's actions were not well received, and he was told by Alpine management that what he did was not correct. And Alpine managing director Steve Nielsen said, as quoted by the race, "Any instruction made by the pit wall is final, and today we are disappointed that this didn't happen, so it's something we will review and deal with internally." But let's move on to McLaren, and as we know, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri crashed at the start of the sprint. Piastri was putting pressure on Norris at turn 1, tried to switch back on Norris, but ended up colliding with the Sauber of Nico Hülkenberg, and that pushed Piastri into Norris, and it took both McLarens out of the race. Now, speaking to Sky Sports F1 from the pit wall just after the incident, McLaren Racing Chief Executive Zak Brown said, "I want to see the replay again, but clearly Nico drove into Oscar and he had no business being where he was, went into his left rear tyre." And after reviewing the footage, Zak Brown changed his tune and backed down from his original point of view. He essentially retracted the comments. And now it's been revealed that Zak Brown took it upon himself to reach out to both Sauber team principal Jonathan Wheatley as well as Hülkenberg to apologise for what he had said. And speaking at Austin, Wheatley said he had no issue with what Brown had said, as it had come in the heat of the moment. Wheatley said, as quoted by the race, "Zach sent me an apology really quickly afterwards, and he apologised personally to Nico. Look, this is a passionate sport. I love the passion. You've got two cars, you're fighting for a world championship, and your two cars get taken out of the first corner. It's easy to think that it's somebody else's fault sometimes, and you react with passion. I think he probably did that on Sky TV or something, in the heat of the moment and the emotion. But I've known Zach a really long time. He's a racer, we're all racers, and we sorted it out afterwards." But let's move on to Carlos Sainz, who has been given a 5th-place grid penalty for the Mexican Grand Prix. As we know, he was involved in an incident with Kimi Antonelli during the United States Grand Prix. Basically, Sainz attempted to overtake Antonelli into turn 15 on lap 7, but contact occurred between the two cars, with Antonelli spinning off the track before rejoining further down the order. And in terms of Sainz, his race was over. He pulled off to the side of the track. He could not continue. Now, it was confirmed that this incident would be reviewed following the Grand Prix, and the stewards concluded that Sainz was at fault for the incident, and they've opted to hand Sainz a drop of 5 grid positions at the next race he participates in, as well as putting 2 penalty points on his licence. A document released after the hearing said car 55 attempted an inside overtake on car 12 at turn 15, and a collision between the two cars occurred at the apex. The driver of car 55 maintained that he had expected the driver of car 12 to leave him space at the apex, but car 12 turned in early and car 55 locked brakes when it became clear that a collision was unavoidable. He suggested that the driver of car 12 ought to have anticipated an overtake attempt by car 55 and left space to avoid contact. However, at no point prior to the apex was the front axle of car 55 alongside or ahead of the mirror of car 12. Therefore, according to the driver's standards guidelines, car 55 had not earned a right to be left space at the apex. The stewards therefore determined that the driver of car 55 was predominantly to blame for the collision, and a penalty is applied accordingly. As the driver to be penalised did not finish the race, a grid penalty equaling a 10-second time penalty is imposed. But that's going to be the video from me today. Thank you ever so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos, and until the next one, take care. Bye.